everybody's full of shit. Nobody knows what you're capable of. True entrepreneurs know in their core that they weren't meant to work for other people. You already have people around you that you trust. Don't hold back. Dive in head first.
When it comes to building an empire, Dana White does not play small. You probably know him as the CEO of the UFC. He acquired the mixed martial arts company for $2 million when it was struggling. 15 years later, he sold it for $4 billion. And even after selling, he's still the CEO. To make all of this happen, Dana did two major things. He relentlessly hires A players, and he made strategic funding moves that would make any entrepreneur sit up and take notes. Because let's face it, finding the right talent and enough money are two of the toughest challenges that entrepreneurs face. When I look at the UFC from the outside, it seems like a big old violent business with a little homoeroticism mixed in. But the UFC is a sophisticated business to run. There's the business of venues, merchandise, pay-per-view licensing, talent management, production, video game licensing, and so much more. So how does a guy who literally turned cage fighting into a worldwide phenomenon find the team and the money to run all of it? Here's the pep talk you didn't even know you needed today with Dana. Dana White, welcome to Bossy.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, okay. I want to talk to you today about how you find and recruit A players, because you're known for finding really great talent before everybody else can spot it. I know that when you bought the UFC for $2 million, you shortly after brought on Joe Rogan as a commentator who he previously was like the Fear Factor guy, right?
That's
and so,
exactly
but you were like, I can see something different for his career.
The Joe Rogan thing, when we first bought the company was based in New York, and we were in Vegas. So I had to fly here from Vegas. And basically go through the entire office. There was a room just full of tapes. I had a VCR, and I was literally for 24 hours just popping tapes in and looking, making sure I didn't get rid of anything that was important. And Keenan Ivory Wayans, you know the Wayans brothers. He had a talk show, and he had Joe Rogan on, and they were on there talking about Fear Factor. He's like, and you love this UFC stuff, right? You're into that. And Joe started talking about the fighters and what they would do to some of these action stars on that you see in movies and stuff.
He's commentating right there. That's his interview, really, and he doesn't know it.
This is the guy I need. This is the guy that I need. This guy would be great. And I reached out to Rogan. We hit it off, and we've been together ever since. And then, it's crazy. If you look at the UFC and Rogan, we both went like this at the same time. Almost like building off each other. It's been an incredible relationship with him.
So when I'm hiring, I'm thinking about a lot of different things. Sometimes I want someone who's already done the job before. Sometimes I want someone who maybe intentionally has not done that exact job, but they've done the job right underneath it. Sometimes I'm looking more for what I call above and beyondness, like the person's just a hustler. What would you say, are any of those more important to you than other things? What are you looking for?
Well, first of all, some kind of connection. There has to be a relationship. When you work with somebody, especially if you're going to work with somebody for 1 year, let alone 10, 15, 20 years, you have to have some type of a connection personally. You have to like each other. And if you start there, then you both are super passionate about the job that you're doing and what you do. It's almost impossible to fail.
Yeah, but when you see like a tape of Joe Rogan, for example, you didn't necessarily know him at the time, so you didn't know that there was the likability there. But there were other things, that maybe it was just his passion about talking about it on the tape that told you maybe it's a good fit.
So I'll tell you what happens right now at the UFC. There's a whole process of hiring when you get hired there. And if it's somebody that's possibly going to be working with me, connected with me, so you'll go through the whole interview process, and then your last interview will be with me. And in that last interview, I will determine whether I think you're good for the job or not.
And a lot of that is you just determining, do we get along? Do I want to hang out with this person? Yeah. There's that strategy people talk about with consulting of like, do you want to be on a plane with this person the whole flight next to them? And that's like a good way to think about, would I want to be on a flight with? I don't know. They might drive me nuts, or it'd be fun to be a good conversation.
Could not agree with you more. That's a great analogy.
So you know how they say hire slow, fire fast? How much of recruiting and getting people on the team is like, oh, I got to find the right person? Or how much of it is just knowing when to let go when you know it's not the right person?
I never heard that one before. That's actually great. I am definitely a fire fast.
Okay, wait. I just want to explain that when Dana says he fires fast, he means it. In 2023, fighter Francis Ngannou was upset about his contract. He wanted to be able to fight in boxing matches outside of the UFC. And Dana was like, nope, you work here. And when Ngannou didn't like this, he just let him go. Fire fast. Dana also has made headlines for reportedly firing his entire UFC production team. He felt like they weren't acting professionally, they were disrespectful, and weren't living up to his high standards that he expects. So he fired fast.
So I want to talk to you more about how you're finding teammates and building the team. So I know that you have The Ultimate Fighter, which is the reality show where fighters go through the training camp. How have you structured that? Because I know you are really involved in setting that up. How have you structured that so that it becomes a really strong recruiting pipeline?
Yeah, so basically the way that it works is The Ultimate Fighter is this great mixture of, you find great up-and-coming talent, you throw them all in the house together, right? They're away from their family, their friends, their regular coaches and everything else, and you have cameras in your face 24/7. It is the ultimate pressure cooker. If you can make it through that, and the crazy thing is we're on season 30-something. I don't even know. The thing's been on since 2005, right? We're heading into 25. It's been on since 2005. So the best always rise to the top in that situation. It is the perfect blueprint formula for finding great talent for us.
Is the idea to simulate what they would go through if they had a contract with the UFC, so that you've got cameras and all these different elements and a lot of pressure? Is that what you're trying to simulate, what it would be like to do the job?
Those things, yes. Those things are just part of what happens with being a part of this show. They definitely get media training, because when you have a camera in your face 24/7, because when you first start to get around a camera, it's very uncomfortable. And you don't. But once you've done it at the level that they do it, for as long as they do it, they literally come out of their media train. They don't worry about cameras anymore. But you do find out what type of pressure they can deal with. They'll never deal with that type of pressure when they get to the UFC. It's different because you'll be training at home with your training partners. You'll have the support of your family. You have none of that when you're when you're on The Ultimate Fighter.
I want to take this concept and see how entrepreneurs can parallel it, because maybe other entrepreneurs are not going to create a reality show, but the whole concept of seeing how someone does in a little piece of the job and then being able to evaluate is really useful.
I want to break this down. Let's say you have an agency business or a physical product business and you need to recruit people to help you. You want to create a way to see if the person will be good at the job before you hire them fully to help you mitigate risk. Idea number 2. Put a case study in the initial job application. Whenever I hire, I put a question in the initial application that asks people to solve a real business problem that I'm trying to solve right now. I might attach documents or context to give them a bigger picture, and I ask people how they would solve the problem. It lets you see how people think up front. Here's one more idea that's a little cutthroat, but it works really well for commission-based sales type roles. So idea number 3. Instead of hiring one person, bring on 2. Offer the role to 2 people and give them a 1-month trial period. Train them both and select the person who performed the best at the end of the month. This works well with sales type roles where the culture is competitive, and if most of the compensation is commission-based, it's low risk for you.
So if you had to stack rank the qualities that tell you someone's going to be an A player, like when you see them, what's your ranking?
When you're young and up and coming, everything looks glamorous, and rock stars, my type of job, the list goes on and on. But at the end of the day, it's a job. It's a job, and you either have that dog in you or you do not. And I think that, you could ask my guys that are around me. This guy out there waiting for me right now, his name's Elliot. Elliot's been with me 20 years probably.
And Elliot has the dog in him?
Yeah, well, it's like once you get up every day and you do your job, it becomes monotonous. And it's, you get to meet all these people and all this stuff. Yeah, but it's a job.
What's another way of saying someone has like the dog in them? Like if you have like a hiring piece of paper and you're like kind of giving someone an evaluation on things that they do well, what's another way of saying that?
Well, I'm telling you right now, everybody that works for me has the dog in them. All the people that work for me are dogs. Lene.
Meaning that they're hungry?
Lene Breckenridge, who's standing out there right now, my head of PR. A dog is somebody who You don't need all the sleep. You don't need the, you just do anything it takes to get the job done. And not just get the job done, but get the job done at the highest level possible, to be the best. I mean, I literally consider all the people that work for me the absolute best in the business.
Yeah.
Anybody out there would love to steal people from me. I have literally the best of the best that work for me.
I love that. I call that above and beyondness. And when I hire, I have like a scorecard and I give the person a number score on their level of above and beyondness. I'm looking at like, what did you do that was not asked for in the application that you just did extra on? Or how did you research or do something else that I was like, oh yeah, you went above and beyond, or have the dog in them. I like that. Okay.
100%. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's literally my entire team. When you look at the things, we're doing an event this Saturday at the Sphere. Everybody said it couldn't be done.
Yeah.
And to get it done, it would take over a year to do.
Yeah.
We're doing this in 4 months, and it's going to be done this Saturday because every single person that works for me has the dog in them, and we figure out how. There is no. The word no does not exist at the UFC. This can't be done.
Say a little bit more about the project of the Sphere, because I wanted to ask you actually about how you think about budgets. That was a very expensive project to do. And so bringing people on your team or investing in a massive arena, like those are huge projects. When you come up with an idea, how much are you thinking about the budget of how much it will cost versus like what the opportunity is?
You are brilliant. I never think about the budget. So what I do is I will say, you know what, we're going to do the Sphere. I don't know what the Sphere costs. It's never been done before. There's never been a live sporting event ever done from the Sphere.
Yeah.
So how do you put a budget on that? You don't know what you don't know yet. So as we go into it, and the budget was originally $8 million.
Yeah.
So regular UFC events, $2.5 million. We budgeted $8 million for the Sphere. We're at $20 million right now.
But before you budgeted anything, you were like, hey, this is what I'm going to do.
This is what we're doing, no matter what.
And there's a lot of leaders who do this, by the way.
And then I'll figure out how to pay for it.
Yeah, and then you'll figure out how to pay for it.
Yeah.
This is a quality I wish I had more as an entrepreneur. I think, so, there's this concept of like convergent and divergent thinking. And the whole concept is you're supposed to do both of these types of thinking when you're coming up with new ideas. So convergent is when you like think of all the limitations, like what's the budget, where are we going to do it? And then divergent is where you like forget all of that, like what's the big idea? And the whole concept is you got to do both in some proportion. But I'm hearing you say you start completely big, not in the constraint, and then maybe you have other people on the team that are thinking about the constraints. Do you think about the constraints? Like
nothing gets done without vision. You have to have the vision to do something.
Yeah.
Then you go out and figure out how to pay for it, right? So what you don't do is I don't like a lot of bean counters involved in my in my decision making.
I've heard you say you don't like budget meetings.
No, I do not like budget meetings at all. So here's how this will work. So I will go to what I call the smart kids. I call them the smart kids that work for me, and they're all the analysts and So I'll say, get the smart kids in here. Give me run me a P&L on this thing and let me know what this is going to cost.
Yeah.
Right. And if you sit around, you don't talk to them. You don't spend a lot of time talking to them.
You're almost intentionally isolating yourself.
100%. You have to isolate yourself from them. And you have these people in your life. Like I have a guy that controls all the money and handles all my shit.
Yeah.
Right? And I wake up every day and go, God, I got a great life. Today's going to be a good day. Then I drive into work and I get them on the phone. I'm like, wow. My life sucks. I should probably drive my car right off a bridge right now, apparently, according to these guys.
Yeah. Talking about the profit margins and all those
guys. They're, So I keep them out of the vision part of the equation.
Yeah.
And give me a P&L on what you think this is going to cost. We take the number, and then I start going with this is how the level we're gonna do this, and then I figure out how to pay for it. I literally just did this with the
Okay,
Sphere.
wait, I want to break down that order. First, you come up with the idea, and then you will have a quick conversation with the P&L budget guys about what's possible. But then you say, okay, within that, here's what we're going to do. Here's the plan. And you sort of go back and forth between those two. Okay.
No, I get that original number.
Okay.
That they think it's going to cost and how this is going to play out. And then I take the vision and just go as
You're not limited to that number. You're like, we can go get more funds. We can go get, okay, this is really useful. So for entrepreneurs who are facing the challenge of they have a big idea, they have something they want to do, and they're like, oh, I don't really have the finances to support this idea. What's your advice to them?
Don't ever let the number mess with your vision. It's always all about the vision. If you have a vision and you truly believe in it, and you truly believe that it will work, go.
What if what you do ends up not being profitable at the end of it then?
There's a lot of businesses out there that are huge that are not profitable. Most of these social media networks, most streaming services, the list goes on and on. But somebody had a vision, and the money guys, there's always money out there, and there's always people looking to invest in something.
Yeah.
There are trillions of dollars out there that people want to invest.
You just got to go find it.
Go find it.
So on the
don't ever let anything fuck with the vision. Ever.
Okay.
If you let the numbers guys tell you it can't be done, it can't be done.
Right. Just because everybody decided that, including you.
I could tell you 10,000 incidents that I've had in the last 25 years where the numbers guys have told me, you can't do this. This is as good as it gets.
Yeah.
So enjoy every minute of this. Be as good to people as you can possibly be and live the best life that you can possibly live.
So I want to ask you one closing question for entrepreneurs who are listening to this and they want to get as good as you at recruiting A players onto their team and to help them and collaborate with them. What advice do you have for them?
My best advice to anybody who's an entrepreneur is we have no time. When I got into the fight business, I was 19 years old. I'm sitting here talking to you right now, and I'm 55 years old. We have no time. Don't ever listen to everybody's full of shit. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows what you're capable of. Get out there. Don't hold back. Don't go, now's not the right time. It's never the right time. It's never the right time to go out on your own, start a business.
Right.
There's always going to be hurdles and challenges and reasons why you shouldn't. You got to do it. If you truly believe that's who you are, true entrepreneurs know in their core that they weren't meant to work for other people.
Ooh.
You know who you are. You know it. You feel it every day. Walk out of that job. Start what you're going to start today. And you already have people around you that you trust, know are smart enough. Most of it is about having this connection and this relationship that I know this is the person I want to do this with. This is the person I want to be on a plane with,
right?
For 10 hours. And just go. Start it. Don't hold back. Dive in head first and go. You will figure out your team. You already know if you work somewhere, you know what you like and you don't like. You know what you want and you don't want. Those are all the basic. It's not. So I have this friend. I'll tell the story to you real quick. We grew up together. Her and I were in kindergarten together.
Yeah.
Talented girl, artist, right? So for years she's been painting and selling stuff online. She was a school teacher. She was an art teacher, right? Why haven't you opened your own gallery? Why haven't you done this, that, right?
Why do you think she hasn't?
She was afraid.
Yeah.
She was afraid to. And here's what happens to some people. She had told me, she just opened her gallery last weekend. It was a huge success.
She did it.
Did it this last Friday. Huge success, right? I've been telling her this for years. She lives in Massachusetts. And she said something to me like, who am I that I'm going to open a gallery and think I'm an artist? And people think like this. You know what I mean? When I took over the UFC, do you know what I did? What I used to do? I was a trainer.
Right. You could have said, who am I?
Everybody who's somebody used to be nobody. Everybody who is somebody used to be nobody. Don't do that to yourself.
Yeah.
Don't think that you're not good enough to go out and open your own gallery and that your art won't resonate with other people.
Yeah.
You don't know that until you do it. You have to dive in and do it.
This is an incredible pep talk. I appreciate this. And I think a lot of people really need to hear this right now. So thank you so much for sharing this. And also just your story about bringing people onto your team that are strong and kind of building a really strong business. It's amazing to hear.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And you're brilliant. It's great to meet you and sit down and talk to you.
Thank you.